Go. There we go. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Today is we are talking with our main man here, Neil Mathweg. I've known Neil for 5, 6, 7 years now, and he is one of my, proud to say, one of my mentors in this business. He has got a fantastic view on how to have a business that you love, and diving into that. So I figured in this market, it's not an easy market. So this is a great time to kind of remind people of how to run your business smoothly. So, Mr. Mathweg, introduce yourself and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. Good morning, everybody. My name is Neil Mathweg, and I was a practicing agent in Madison, Wisconsin for over 20 years. And about 7 years ago, I took the leap of faith and moved our family to Florida. And I've been a real estate coach since then and have a team still in Wisconsin in my hometown and another team down here in Fort Myers. And been blessed to coach over 300 agents. I just completed my 10,000th hour of one-on-one coaching. I don't recommend anybody do that, but but I'm saying all of that to say that I absolutely love working with real estate agents and coaching and helping you grow a business. And something that I've focused on over the years is helping remove the clutter and the noise. And something that I often say is busy isn't the same as productive. And we can really be busy in this business. There's so many shiny objects and so many things that we can be putting our attention on. And we feel that they all need our attention, right? So we don't know what to pick from. And the part that I've specialized in is helping agents decide what is right for them. And so today I'm going to show you that roadmap. I'm going to show you how you can decide what is the right pillars for you, is some language that I use. And I'll also show you some rhythms and some steps to take that you can follow that will keep you being productive and not busy. I think I hear this a lot here where agents, the real problem isn't leads. I think if that was the case, the agents that have a lot of leads wouldn't be stressed and overwhelmed and burnt out, right? So the answer isn't more leads. And what you'll see, and when you learn a process like I'm going to show you today, or learn a framework, that you just have to commit to the process and detach from the outcome. So many of us do things that we know are going to help grow our business, but the results aren't there quick enough. And so we get so attached to the outcome that we can no longer see the target. We can no longer continue to do what we were doing because where are the results? It's almost like if we're planting crops and the next day we're digging them up and wondering where the fruit is, right? We've got to let them grow. And another great analogy with all of this is the 3 feet from gold. If you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, it's one of my all-time favorites. There's a section in there that talks about the 3 feet from gold, and that is where you can get so close to the breakthrough, so close to the fruit coming that you quit. And so I want to assure you that everything that I'm showing you here today, if you just commit to the process and detach from the outcome, you will break through and you will get the results. And I have a lot of agents that we've helped over the years that I could show you. Proof is in the pudding. All right. So the other challenge that I think a lot of us run into is this roller coaster ride, where 1 month we've got a lot of closings, we got a lot going on, and we get so busy working in the business that we forget to work on the business. And then we go on this roller coaster ride. When you get working according to a rhythm, like I'm going to show you here today, that begins to go away because you are set for when you're busy. The things still keep happening when you're busy, and that is the key. So I'm going to show you how consistency is just everything, but a lot of us don't know what to be consistent with. So I'm going to help you see that today so you can remove that roller coaster. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're struggling in this business, I want to say that you're not failing. You're building, you're growing. When you give effort towards something, you either get get the result or you get a lesson. And if you stack those lessons, eventually you'll get to the results. So I just want to say, like, if you feel like you're empty, you feel like you're not growing in this business, and you just feel like you're spinning your wheels, I want to remind you that the only thing that's missing is a clear plan that you can work according to, that will you'll stay consistent with, and that's what's going to bring the breakthrough. All right. So the three secrets that I'm going to go over here today and show you how to develop all of this to be productive, as I've been saying this for years, is you've got to have a clear plan that's congruent to you and one that you stay consistent with. And if you get this down, you're unstoppable. All right. So what does a clear plan look like? Like, we've got so many ideas and so many different ways to build this business. What does a clear plan look like? Well, first, let me give you the 30,000 foot view. This is what your business could look like if you when you structure it this way. You'll see that your three pillars, and we're going to talk about the three pillar plan today. The three pillars are your lead source. This is where all of your leads are coming from. Then in the middle of the funnel is what we call is matchmaking. And this is as simple as understanding that buyers want houses and sellers want buyers. That's how simple our business truly is. And we're matchmakers, right? Buyers want houses, sellers want buyers, and we're matchmakers. And so we just get to listen for their criteria, their story. What is the reason they're moving? What is it that they're looking for? This goes beyond the 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, picket fence. Like, it goes beyond that. It is their story. It is their reason for moving. And when you understand their story, you can find properties that match their story, and you can stand out in the sea of other agents. And when you matchmake, you're creating opportunity, because not only do you have a buyer that's looking for a property, but while you're looking for that property, you might find a seller that you get to work with as well. So matchmaking creates opportunities. So the top of the funnel, the three pillars, is your lead source. The middle of the funnel is matchmaking and lead conversion. And the bottom of the funnel is servicing and contracts and closings, and having systems for everything that you do repetitively. So now this is what your business looks like at a 30,000 square foot, or I keep saying square foot. You can tell I'm a realtor. 30,000 foot view, right? This is what your business, this is what the overview looks like. Now, the other beautiful thing about this is this also becomes your roadmap to weekly engagements. And weekly engagements, I have seen agents that if they talk to 30 people a week, they're going to sell about 20 to 25 homes a year. If they're up to 60 people a week on a consistent basis, every single week, they're doing 50, 75, 100 homes a year. I practiced at 60 a week, and I sold anywhere from 75 to 100 every single year. And it was my engagements. It was me talking to the people from my three pillars. So my sphere of influence, I have a plan that I speak with my sphere of influence. I have a plan for my chase pillar. And I'll show you what all of this means. And I have a plan for my attraction. These are where my leads are coming from. This is creating engagement. And then matchmaking is also engagement. And if you do all of this together and you see it this way, you'll see that you can get 60 engagements a week. And that is the leading indicator that is going to show that your business is always moving forward. If you feel like there's weeks where you're on the roller coaster, and there's times where you're so busy in the business that you don't do any of the work on the business, you'll see that roller coaster will just sneak up on you. But if you're talking to 60 people a week, and the busier you are, the easier it's to talk to 60 people a week, right? The more servicing, the more buyers you're showing houses to and talking on the phone and matchmaking and calling on behalf of, these are all great engagements that are going to move your business forward. So the busier you are, the easier it is to get the engagements. And these 60 engagements, I'm telling you, this is the mark. If you hit this on a consistent basis, the roller coaster just goes away. It's gone. You'll consistently be doing business. You will consistently having closings. So clarity removes stress before it creates the results. Remember earlier I said we need to commit to the process and detach from the outcome. Well, clarity removes this. When we have a clear plan, we know at the end of the day we've done everything that we need to do. All right, so we get this clear plan. Now, the second secret is to make sure that the plan is congruent to you. When I started as an agent, I was handed FISBO and expired scripts, and I was told to dial for dollars. And if I wanted to live, I better get listing. And that's what I was told to do. And so I sat down with this script and got the phone slammed down on me one after another. And I even remember on the way home from work one night, on the way home from the office, I called it work, on the way home from the office, I like literally broke down crying because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this is not what I want to be doing with my life. And if this is the only way for me to build my business, then this isn't for me. And at the time, I had been in the business for 6 months and I had sold one house and I was ready to quit. I ended up the later 6 months of that year, I ended up selling 36 more homes, 35. I did 36 in my first year. And the reason I took off later was because I found what was congruent to me. I knew that calling FISBOs and expireds wasn't my jam. I knew that I needed to be in front of people. I knew that I had a big sphere of influence. I knew that I knew a lot of people in my town and I just needed to get in front of them. And thankfully, I had a manager, Joe Evans, rest in peace. She gave me the guidance I needed. She showed me a three-pillar plan. And this three-pillar plan allowed me to pick what was congruent to me. Now, over the years, we've developed this into our sphere of influence, a chase pillar, and an attraction pillar. And the sphere of influence, you probably already know what that means. Like, these are your people, these are your friends, these are your family. But what's a rhythm? How do we stay in touch with them? And what is the things that we want to do every single month so that they don't forget about us when it's time for them to move? And they become referral partners. They refer us. So how do we build that? And then I knew that I needed to get out there and get some business. My sphere was eventually going to trust me, but what happens until then? So I need to get out there and get some business. So then there's chase pillars, and there's so many different ones. And really, this just comes down to, how do you want to meet people that you don't know? What source do you want to use? Do you want to use it for open houses? I got really good at open houses. Everybody that walked into the open house, I just had it dialed in, and it became my jam. I became a master of it, right? But then I learned online leads. That came on landscape, and so I learned. So how do you want to meet your people? Do you like meet them at an open house, or do you like an online lead? It's just a number for now, and you got to form that relationship, and you get excited about that. Or maybe you like somebody that's lower in the funnel, like a FISBO or an expired, somebody that's already thought about selling. And maybe you would have fun calling them and serving and providing service for them and helping them. And you get excited about that. Like, there's a little bit of a game there for you. Or maybe it's geofarming. Maybe you like the idea of, hey, this is my farm. I'm going to love on this neighborhood. I'm going to provide everything I can. But just think about it. All of these different chase pillars are just ways for you to meet people. Like, even into the niches, serving seniors, working with investors, right? It's just ways for you to meet people. And they're probably people that have things in common with you. So it becomes fun, right? And then if you focus on it, if you don't have any other shiny objects and you're just like, dude, open houses is my jam. Every week I do open houses. Guess what? You're going to become really good at open houses. When people walk in the door, you're gonna hit it off with so many people, and you're gonna have a system dialed in. And I'll teach you the system I did. I did over 1,000 open houses in my career, right? So it's amazing once you focus, right? Because then you can see your business through a lens, right? You get rid of all the noise. And then the third and final pillar is attraction pillar, best known as social media. We love doing social funnels. We love it where our social media leads into a funnel, leads into an appointment. We've really dialed this in on YouTube. And now, thanks to Eddie Brady, we're trailblazing in Instagram and turning all of these into social funnels. And so the attraction pillar, again, is ways for people to meet you, but it has to be congruent to you. And if you think that you have to do social media in order to be successful in this business, I want to point you in the direction of hundreds of agents that I know that have nothing to do with social media and are super successful. So the attraction pillar doesn't have to be social media, but it's the one that's right at our fingertips, and it's the one that most of us are already doing. But you can do other things. You could put on events. I used to call them I Love Madison meetups. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I put these meetups on. I did LinkedIn locals where I get people together to talk about LinkedIn. I did all kinds of meetups, right? So you can do that as an attraction pillar as well. So, but once you start to see this, you start to see, okay, what feels right to me? What's congruent to me? Right? And you have to pick what fits you. You have to be excited about it. I have seen agent after agent kind of be bored about their business, have a hard time doing the boring work, the things that they know that they need to do, like open houses or geo farming or whatever it is they need to do for a chase pillar. And as soon as they feel it, as soon as they get excited, you just see they get so passionate about their chase pillar and they add so many amazing things to it, and it just skyrockets their business. And so you have to find one that excites you. And again, the best plan, just like CRMs, whenever somebody asks me, what's the best CRM? It's the CRM you use. The same thing goes with a plan. The best plan is the one you stick to, right? The one that feels right and you're excited about it. And you kind of got a fire in your belly about it. That's a great plan. Now, the last piece to all of this is consistency. And this is the most important. You have to be consistent. But the problem is, most of us don't have a plan to be consistent with. Like, yeah, Neil, we get it. We get consistency. I get it. But I don't have a plan to be consistent with. And a rhythm beats motivation. I remember one time we had a group call and we were going around the circle talking about how do you get psyched up to film your videos? You know, like, is it a certain time of the month that excites you? Is it a certain, when the kids are off to school, or what do how do you get fired up, and what is your plan, and do you batch? And it was just this conversation about recording videos. And it got all the way around to Eddie Brady, and Eddie said, you know what, guys, there's never a time that I get excited to record videos. I look at it as work, and it's work that needs to be done. And see, Eddie has it in a rhythm. He knows exactly when it's time to record videos, and he knows. And I've even had times where he's 2 minutes late for a call with me because he was just finishing a video that he started 7 minutes ago. Like, he literally just gets it done. He's in a rhythm. He doesn't overthink it. And that rhythm, I'm telling you, brings you so much freedom. It allows you to not overthink work, to not get attached to the work, to just know that you just got to put it in. You're not attached to the outcome. I'm sorry. You don't get attached to the outcome. You just put in the work. And that's where the results follow. So I want to show you a couple things that help you get in a day-to-day rhythm, a weekly rhythm, a monthly rhythm, and an annual rhythm. And you can take screenshots of these, and I'm sure we'll share the slides and the replays. But once you start to see all of this, like we've got the 3-pillar plan, and once you dial in that 3-pillar plan, you can start doing what we call as day blocking. If you're anything like me, time blocking sounds great. I mean, I was taught, you prospect from 9 until noon, you take a lunch break, and then from 1 till 4, you do your appointments, and from 4 to 5, you do all your admin work. That's what was taught to me. I absolutely love that. I operated that way for a while, but I don't know if I was just too much of a people pleaser or what my deal was, but I just couldn't tell somebody that we can't have your closing at 9 a.m. because I have to prospect. I just didn't have it in me. And so I found myself people pleasing. I found myself having to be at different places. And, I mean, if I'd be that tough coach that you want me to be, I'd say, stop people pleasing. And, and that's the time block. But instead I came up with day blocking. And what I discovered is that if I have these certain tasks that I need to do every single week, and if I do them, my business is always moving forward. And to this day, I don't go home unless my day block is done. It doesn't matter when it's done during the day. Mondays is my hot leads. So sometime on Monday, I got to clean up all my leads. I got to clean up and make sure that I've talked to everybody that's in my lead tracker, and I focus on my leads. The people that I didn't matchmake with last week, I want to make sure I'm following up with them. So that was on Mondays. Tuesdays, my client update days. So I call all of my clients that I'm currently working with. Wednesdays, I work on my sphere of influence. Thursdays, I work on my chase. And Friday, I work on my traction. And I don't go home until those are done. Okay. And that allowed me to stay in a weekly flow that was always pointing to my business. And then you add in the engagement tracker. So you get those 60 engagements a week. And all of this helps you multiply and stay focused. Now, to go even a step further with our sphere of influence. So, like you saw on Wednesdays back here, Wednesday is my sphere of influence day. So what do I actually do on Wednesdays? So I just want to break one of these down. I'm not going to show you all of this, but break one of these down. So sphere of influence is this is my annual plan for my sphere of influence. Weekly, I send a weekly email with deal of the week or weekly insider. And before AI, I just want to note here, before AI, this would be impossible. I couldn't get this into a flow like this. But now with AI, it's like lickety split. So every week I send an email. Monthly, I mail a newsletter. If you've ever listened to me before, I'm a huge believer. Clint's laughing. I'm a huge believer in mailing newsletters. They just work. And I could do a whole webinar just on or whole series on just on newsletters. But trust me, they just work. We'll get back to that. Quarterly, I do events or Popeyes. So every quarter I have an event. That seems to be a lot, right? That's 4 events a year. That's a lot. So maybe I mix in some Popeyes. So maybe I do 2 Popeyes a year and 2 events a year. And then annually I do equity reports for all my clients. And if you can do it for your entire sphere, that's awesome, right? Equity reports. And guys, we're just dialing this in because of AI. The report can be personalized, the email that you send to them or the video that you send to them, however you want to do it. And then just sending something like RPR, something that is just easy for you. You've got easy access to it. And even if it's inaccurate, that actually creates a conversation. And I know some of your skins might be crawling a little bit, but that's a good thing. It creates this engagement. So you do those on an annual basis, right? So weekly email, monthly newsletter, quarterly events, and annual equity reports. And I work on this every Wednesday, right? That's my attraction pillar day. So another rhythm, and I don't want to give you too many here that it's just overwhelming. I'm just going to kind of breeze over these a little bit. But another rhythm is a project-based rhythm. So, you heard me talking about the 3 pillar plan. So what are the steps to building that out? We need to follow the Agent Rise steps. So these are 8 steps that will walk you through building out your 3 pillar plan in the level of importance. Start out with building that database, send that announcement letter, and then after that, follow it up with monthly newsletters. Pick a chase pillar, get matchmaking, then add in systems. So anything that you do repetitively has to have a system, and then start your attraction pillar and then go back to your sphere of influence. Always be going back to your sphere of influence. But you follow these 8 steps. And I'm telling you, there's the roadmap to building out your 3 pillar plan. I'm also a big believer in project when we look at projects. So you're just starting with Agent Rise and you're looking overall, building out your 3 pillar plan, follow those 8 steps. But if you're ready and you're in business and you're ready to rock, I'm a big believer in this 3 step plan for building out your 12-week year. If you do goals in 12 weeks versus 1 year, you'll get so much more done because it's a vacuumed amount of time. Like if you've ever gone on vacation, that's probably the best example. If you've ever gone on vacation and you have a whole list of things that you have to do, right? You got to get everything ready for the hotel, everything for the travel, airline, all that. You also have a whole list of things that you need to get ready for the week that you're gone. And if you've been an agent for any time now, you know that when you get ready for vacation, that's when all of the buyers and the sellers come out of the woodworks, right? So you get super busy. But somehow, some way, we pull it all off, right? We get it all done. We go on vacation. It's great. We, hopefully, don't have a home alone moment where we forget Kevin or anything like that. But everything goes great, right? We go on vacation and it's amazing. And it's because we had a short amount of time. And that's what the 12-week year does. And so, what I recommend is setting your goals over 12 weeks. But before you do that, you want to have a vivid vision. You want to have a dream of where you're going. And before you do that, you want to take inventory of everything that you've already accomplished to just remind yourself of how awesome you are. Because a lot of us, when we dream with the lid off, we put ourselves in the gap. We don't think we're enough. And so we're chasing that horizon and we're just desperately trying to get there. And once we get there, we feel like maybe we've arrived, but then all of a sudden it slips away from us again. And so, what I encourage you to do is measure the gains. If you've never read the book Gap in the Gain, go get that book. It's an amazing book. And it'll teach you to look at the gains. And I want you to do that when you go into goal planning. I think it's a huge mistake when we go into goal planning, we just want and dream, and we don't even, some of it we don't even believe. But if you can measure the gains, measure where you come from, look at where you've come from and measure all the gains, and then take that energy into dreaming with the lid off. And then you'll have that vivid vision statement. And after that vivid vision statement, work on 3 goals over the next 12 weeks. Now, again, this is a lot I'm throwing at you here. Now, and none of it would be possible without AI, right? So all of it, you take everything that I'm sharing with you here today, and the 12-week year, the generator, all of that's right in ChatGPT as a custom generator. And you can do a lot of what we're talking about, the weekly emails, the deal of the week email, all of those generators and prompts, they're all at our fingertips. So a lot of what I'm sharing with you today would be so overwhelming that you wouldn't even know where to begin. But now with AI, you can not only see the clear plan and find a plan that's congruent to you, but then have all of the tools that you need to be consistent. And another thing that we say, just for me to wrap up here, is that every system that you have, anything that you do repetitively has to have a system. So we've built systems, and these are all at your fingertips, right? So buyer consultation. What are you doing when a buyer raises their hand and is ready to meet with you? What is your process? Your listening appointment. We call it a listening appointment because we want to listen when we go to listing appointments. What is your listening appointment process? And then writing an offer and presenting an offer, contract to close, all of that. You want to have a system dialed in for all of that. And the best thing is AI removes the friction from all of that, right? So get using AI, get practicing some of the frameworks that I'm sharing with you here today. You'll see your business as a clear plan, and you'll want it to be congruent to you, and then stay consistent and use AI to stay consistent. And again, if you commit to the process and detach from the outcome, you're going to see it, and you'll eventually break through. You won't have to overthink it anymore. You won't have to wonder if you're doing the right things, because everything in this business works. It really does. I've seen a mix of many different ways. Probably I'd have to turn into a mathematician here, but probably 20 to 30 different ways I've seen agents build their businesses. And it all works because they believe in it and they stick to it, and it's congruent with them. So I can go deeper on anything. I know I went fast here. I tried to go fast and try to get as much at you as possible. But let's take some questions, and let me help any way that I can.
Real quick, man, can you step back one slide?
Yes.
Thank you kindly.
Mm-hmm.
So Neil, I'll ask the question, maybe get everybody's brain flowing here until somebody else has one.
Yeah.
You talk about the 3 pillars. Is there an order you should do them in? And should you worry about starting all 3 immediately? Or is it okay to, like, in your 12-week year, first 12 weeks, maybe you're just worried about your SOI. And then the next week, what's a great way to kind of ramp up and slowly
Yeah.
implement this?
That's great. I would definitely do it over time. The fastest I've seen an agent do it is in 12 weeks, where they built out their whole 3 pillar plan, including launching a YouTube channel and, like, I mean, doing all of it. So that's really fast, and I don't think that that's normal. I would recommend doing a pillar, follow the Agent Rise steps. So the first 3 steps are around the sphere, and that's a lot of heavy lifting. You're going to build that database. A lot of agents don't have that database, right? So you're going to build a database of all your friends and family, and then you're going to mail an announcement letter, and the announcement letter can be different for each. If you're either a new agent or maybe been an agent for a while and you just almost lost touch. A letter that we have is called a reconnect letter, and you can reconnect, and then getting those newsletters going, right, up and running, and finding the source that you want, the sources that we recommend, so you can get the sources that you want, and then get those going. But then like that's 12 weeks right there, right? That you could make that a 12-week goal right there, is to launch your sphere. And then following that is the chase pillar. And the chase pillar is, I'm going to start doing open houses, and maybe you're already doing open houses, right? And then matchmaking and systems go after that. And then the next thing is the attraction pillar, and that's the last thing. And I think a lot of us are, again, we're already doing social media, but we're going to double down and go with a plan that actually works, right? Not just noise. You're going to actually produce results, and that's doubling down on the attraction pillar. Great question, buddy.
Can you go back to the pillar screen?
Yeah. Oh, one sec. Here we go. Okay. There we go.
Perfect. Um, is it necessary to have all three pillars? Or if you're amazing at Sphere and you've got a killer YouTube channel,
Yep.
do you need, I guess my question is, what can you do to somebody who feels like they've, or what would you say to somebody who feels like they've got two of the three already
Yes.
dialed in and they're feeling the pressure on the third one?
Yeah, I've always seen it as the chase is the rocket booster. It's the part of the business that can get out there and get it for you, but it's also the most exhausting and usually our least favorite. Like if I were to tell you you have to do open houses for a year to two to build your business, and then later you could drop it, I usually can get agents on board. But if I'm going to tell you you got to do open houses the rest of your career, you're probably like, nope, I'm good. And I throttled it. Like I did open houses early in my career, and then I found other ways to meet people. I started mailing FISBOs and expireds, and I started doing online leads. So then I dropped my open houses, and then the recession came. And 2008 hit, and I lost my shorts. I had a ton of investing, and my world crumbled. But I knew my way out of that hole, and that was to do open houses. So there I was back doing open houses again. And then 2012, my business skyrockets again. I drop open houses, and now I go into radio advertising. I do other things, for the chase pillar. So the answer is yes, you can definitely drop it. Yes, you can definitely operate without it. A lot of the agents that I've been coaching for years, they use that chase pillar to get going, and now it's long gone. And then sometimes they'll add it back in. They'll just see it as, oh my gosh, now I could do digital geo farming. I didn't have the capacity before, and now I could add it back in. And you'll see their business go to the next level as soon as they do. And so it's one of those up and down. The sphere is 80% of your business. That's one that you're going to build. And that's why it's the first one. We want it strong and great and awesome. And that's why we also say keep adding to it. Like once you're mailing newsletters, maybe add client events, then add Popeyes, and then add weekly emails, do additional things. And then the attraction pillar is again usually a solid one. We're big believers in YouTube channels, living in and moving to, and now we're also trailblazing with Instagram, doing the point of view, selling the dream, and then offering guides, and those guides go into funnels, and we're getting great results there as well. So the attraction pillar again is a stable one. The sphere is the most stable one, and chase pillar up and down. And if you're new, like you need the chase pillar, let's go. If you're stuck, use the chase pillar. Great. We got a lot of hands up now. You
Oh,
want me just to call on them?
um, yeah, go ahead, because I'm a newbie at running these Zoom meetings. So
You're
if you
doing
don't,
great, brother. You're
let's
doing
get them
great.
off
You're
of,
doing great.
then go for it.
Let,
Yes.
let's go to Shelly. She's the first one up. And the quick scatter to get to the mute.
There I am.
There we go. Awesome.
Okay, my question is, so I moved to Southern Oregon 3 years ago, and I'm just getting back into real estate. And I was in real estate in Washington. So I'm in a new city. I don't
Okay,
have a
great.
sphere of influence, really. I mean, I do, but it's small, very
Yes,
small.
yes, yes, yes.
What would you suggest to someone like me who doesn't mind doing all the things? Like
Awesome.
I can do
Yes,
all that,
yes, yes,
but
yes.
I'm really starting literally from scratch.
Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So the first thing I would do is build that database, even though it's small. Right. We're gonna move through the first three steps really quickly so that we can get to the chase and the attraction fast. Right. Because your sphere is small, but we've got friends back in Washington, right? We've got a sphere back there, and we're going to include them to begin. We need them on our mission because they're going to have referrals for us back home. They're also going to have referrals. Maybe they're going to know somebody moving to Oregon as well, right? It's a popular commute. And actually, if you look up Oregon, where do most people come from? It's probably Washington, right? Maybe I don't know, but I'm from Wisconsin, and our number one is Minnesota and Illinois, right? Neighboring cities or neighboring states. So just know that you got a lot of love back home, and tap into that. Make that part of your sphere as well. And then Chase Pillar, you just go all in. And we want to focus, open houses. If you're part of a brokerage that has a lot of great listings in the area, open houses would be great. Online leads is something that if you've got money, you could invest in, and it'll give you return. If we don't have money, then we've got to look for other ways. FISBOs, door knocking, geo farming are all other ways. Geo farming gets expensive, so you got to watch that as well. But really, what it's going to come down to is like what plays to your hand, what pillar, what option in there, or maybe there's a niche. Maybe you've worked with investors before and you love working with investors. You could niche down and start going to investor meetups. Start calling the investors that have signs that say "We buy ugly houses," and just start connecting and matchmaking. You go to these investor meetups. Somebody raises their hands and says, "Hey, we're new here and we're looking to buy a duplex in the coming months or years, or whatever." You don't have to like go get them as a client, but just get their contact information and understand their story, and then go out there and find them that duplex and call them and say, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we met at that meetup. I found a duplex right over here. Are you guys still looking?" And that's how you start matchmaking, right? So basically, and then I mean, to go even further, you could start tapping into networking events. Maybe you could get in on a BNI. There's so much there in the chase pillar. And then I'm saving the best for last. If you're all in on being on camera and want to start a YouTube channel, doing relocation, I always think about Karen Carr, who wrote the book YouTube for Agents, like literally wrote the book. She was brand new to her town. She moved to Savannah, Georgia, didn't know anybody there but her husband. Her husband relocated there, and that's where she launched her amazing career. And you can do the exact same thing. So social
Okay.
media can be your jam, but you got to be focused. You got to have a funnel and dial it in. And I'm happy to help you with all of it. It's all right here in our community, and I can point you to the people that are already doing it. And so it's just, follow the roadmap,
And
right?
I would say
Yeah.
also, based off the social media aspect, I think there's a great um, amount of content you have at your fingertips that you don't realize as somebody new to your area. Is I would start producing content of, hey, when I moved here, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know this. Or,
Sure.
hey, I'm new to the area. Where can I find this? Or where's the best place for this? And just start letting the audience kind of help guide your content. So I think there's a plethora of way, whether it's, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever your uh,
Hmm.
channel of choice is. I think that's an easy, low-hanging fruit of, hey, when I moved here, I wish I'd known this. And
Sure.
there's
Hmm.
great
Yes,
engagement
yes.
there, I think.
It's so good too, because it adds this effect that we're all looking for a guide, right? We're all looking for somebody to guide us. And if you have experienced what their experience, they resonate with you. And that's the key, the first step. If you've ever read the book Story Brand, that's the first step is resonating. And like, hey, you're just there 6 months earlier than me, which means you feel in the same pains, the same excitement that I am. And and now you can be my guide.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Yes, yes. Good. All right, let's go to Dominique.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Um, okay, so I I would love to try to do like some of these things, but what I have learned is maybe I'm not giving myself enough time to try it out. Like hearing that statement, detach from the outcome, I needed to hear that because I am so attached to the outcome. If I feel like this is not working, move on to the next. And I don't think that that's working for me, and I'm recognizing
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
So, and it's my first time hearing about the 12-week goal. I'm like, well, maybe I give myself 12 weeks to give this a try, look at the data, and if it's not working, then try something different. So I feel like that may be where I'm at, and I may have just answered my own question, but maybe give it
Yes.
12 weeks.
Yes, yes, yes. Do the 12 weeks and also, understand that how long something takes to work. Like I think that that's something that I've learned over the years. Like I'm such a believer in newsletters, but it takes 12 to 18 months before you start to see the results. I remember one time I bought radio advertising, and everybody around me says, "Oh, if you're going to do radio advertising, budget like 2 years. Like it takes a while." And I started getting like decent results right away. So my expectation was, well, that's because your guys' ads weren't good. Like my ads are good, so I'm going to get better results. And so my expectation was that I was going to get more, but I got to that eighth month mark, and I caved. I gave up because the results
Mhm.
I was losing money, and I'm like I can't keep spending $2,500 a month on this and keep losing money, and I pulled the plug. I bet you the results were just right around the corner, and I quit 3 feet from gold. And the key that I've learned is that if you just understand how long something takes and surround yourself with others that have already been there, that can say, yep, they work, it just takes this time. And if you can constantly keep pivoting, you stay on the right track, but you just adjust. You just learn because
Mhm.
you either get the result or you get a lesson. And most of us are just looking for the result. Like, if I don't get the
Mhm.
result, then I'm giving up, right? Like this, I need an ROI, right? Well, like you just need to wait, right? And then you keep stacking those lessons, and then eventually the result gets there. But most of us don't know what to focus on because we think it might not work in our market. We have so many ways to doubt it, right? Like, okay, yeah, open houses might have worked for you, Neil, but that's not me, or it's not, they don't work in my market, or I don't have the listings, right? We all have doubt. So it's like remove that doubt and get so focused on the work that you put in, not the outcome. And you don't even measure the outcome, right? Like it comes later, but you just put the work in and detach from the outcome. And once you understand too, I'm rambling, but once you understand detachment too, you can not only detach from the outcome when it comes to the things that you practice, but you can find total freedom in detaching from the outcome of all of the stress of being an agent, right? You can put the work in and then detach from the outcome and say that it's not in my hands anymore, right? And let things be. And once you learn to do it in a transaction, the best part is you can do it in life. And it's not by becoming carefree. You actually care and love more. You're detached from the outcome because your natural state is happiness. And you don't need to do anything for happiness. You're already happy. And so a lot of us yearn onto things, and I'm only going to be happy if I get this listing, and I'm only going to be happy if this turns out, and I'm attached to the outcome. And I'm telling you,
Mhm.
once you release that, it's just you're free as a bird. You're naturally happy. No event justifies a negative feeling. And most of us go throughout our day and how did this go and how did that go? And no event justifies a negative feeling. Somebody would react differently, and you know it, to the things that you react to. And so
Mm.
again, once you detach, you can learn to detach from the outcome in practice, but then learn to detach in life. And it's just pure bliss. It's going to be my next book. So I'm fired up about
Well,
that.
thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that. That was
Yes.
very timely for me personally, so
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And sorry for rambling there. I get fired up about all that. It's just pure freedom. So I'm when you say that that excited you, that excited me. So yeah. Okay, let's go to Carla next.
Okay, so my question is, I know you said the newsletters worked really well for you. What does the newsletters consist of? What does it have that attracts?
Yeah, great question. So I recommend a company called Fast Newsletters, and I have no affiliate with them at all. It's just a company that I'm a fan of. It's called fastnewsletters.com. And another one that I used for years was called serviceforlife.com. Both of them are great newsletters. Fast Newsletters is the cheaper one, so it's probably the more popular one. But Service for Life is a great newsletter as well. Okay. So you'll get this template every single month, and they write the newsletter for you. And then you can change up the articles, change anything that you want. And before AI, I used to say, well, they have a library that you can go pick out articles. But now with AI, just load the newsletter into ChatGPT and say, give me an article that fits here that's about this, and boom, there's your article, right? So article wise, it's very, very easy. The components that I look for in the newsletter, this is why it works. The number one is a thank you section. And this is a gratitude section of thanking those that either recently referred you or gave you a 5-star review or referred a friend or bought a house with you or just even gave you words of encouragement. Somebody that maybe even dropped off flowers for you on a tough day, right? Like somebody that you just love them and they support you. It might even be the person at the front desk. It might even be your broker or your manager. It might be your coach. Give some love to the coaches. But you know what I'm saying? It's somebody that's helping you grow your business and or referring you. And what this does is we're in this game of earning our sphere of influence's trust. So our sphere of influence may know us, they may trust us, but do they trust us with their real estate? And I experienced that. I had people that trusted me. I had a screen printing business before, and they trusted me in their screen printing business, but they had somebody else for their real estate that they trusted. And so I would just say, okay, that's okay. I'm going to just focus on being their number two because people retire and people move and move on. So I'm just going to focus on being their number two. And I'm going to show them that others are trusting me month after month, year after year, so that when they're ready to make a move or they need an agent or they need even my second opinion, right? Then I'm an agent that they trust. And by showing that others are trusting, it helps build that. Another thing that builds trust in the newsletters is articles that actually provide value, right? Like that actually they learn something from. And what I've learned there is, instead of saying, if you're thinking about buying or selling, give me a call. You say, if you're thinking about selling, make sure you grab my 29 essential tips to getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Download here. And then it makes me an authority, it makes me an author, right? I put a guide together. And so I found that early in my career. I think some of that's getting a little diluted now because we're in the content era and the content is so readily
Yeah.
available, but it is still better than just saying, give me a call, right? And then another thing in there is we have fun in the newsletters, have a trivia section, create a little bit of engagement. We did like did you knows and word of the month and just goofy, weird little tidbits. Basically, I wanted the newsletter to turn into like a Reader's Digest. Like there's a little bit in there for everybody. And the last thing when it comes to newsletters is personalize it. Like really make it yours. Make it, mine was called the Mathweg Minute. It only takes a minute to read. I thought that was clever 23 years ago. But that was my jam. And I was proud of my little newsletter. I called it my cheesy little newsletter, and I had fun with it. And I put little fun things in there, and it was my jam. And so you just got to become proud of it. I think um, I've had some agents that I've coached that are in their early 20s, and they're like, this is so outdated and so old, and I'm not mailing, like I don't see this. And then like 6 months later, they're like, dude, I get it. I totally understand. Like, thank you for just making me do this. Like I didn't see this at first. So and there's some agents that I haven't convinced to do it too because they just don't see it. But understand that, I'm in my mid 40s. I like getting mail. And I know that my parents who are in their 80s love getting mail. And so I know that mail serves a purpose. You can send emails, and emails have really low open rates, where mail, it shows up every month. We don't know how many open it, but even if they look at it on the way to the garbage can, at least I did that, right? At least I got in front of them for
Yeah.
just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then we do our client events. So we put our client events invites in there. I sent out an annual calendar every year, refrigerator magnet calendar. So there's like certain things that they just go so well in the newsletter. I had a centerfold in there of all of my listings and closings. So it was evidence of success. That's building trust as well. Right. And I would do 30 to 60 transactions every single year from my sphere of influence. So my 330 people in my database, I would do 30 to 60 transactions every single year on repeat, even in the recession. I did all of that with my sphere. So,
Okay. Thank
yeah.
you for that. I actually have another question.
Hold on
What
one
do you
second,
send
Carl.
out?
Before you ask that, I'm
Oh,
going to follow up
okay.
on the thing on he said. Um, I was kind of a skeptic on the newsletter as well until I started sending it. Uh, and it's great. Don't overthink the content of it.
Yes.
The consistency is way more important than what you're putting in there. I try to every now and then, put local events and stuff in there. It's not all real estate related, um, but it's also a great touch point, especially when you're first starting out for your engagement tracker and your sphere of just checking in with people. Hey, I just started a newsletter. Did you happen to get it this month? I just want to make sure it's going out and getting to the people it's supposed to be getting to. And there's so many touch points in there that's not related to as necessarily the newsletter itself, but ancillary to it. So it's a great question. I'm sorry I interrupted your second one. Please go ahead.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
No, that's okay. So my second question was about that announcement letter. Is it a separate from the newsletter, or is it okay to add them together?
Yeah. The announcement letter is meant to be the on ramp to the newsletter. It's meant to go before it. And as a
Okay.
new agent, my announcement letter, I mailed it out to like 200 people in my town. And I got my best client ever because of my announcement letter. And I was a new agent, and I just said, hey, you've trusted me. I owned a screen printing and embroidery business before I was a realtor. So obviously a lot of you trusted me with the screen printing and embroidery. And now I've decided to become a real estate agent, and I'm working with Century 21, and I've got this great company behind me. I'm new, yes, but I have got this great team behind me, and I'm also new, so that means that I've got more time on my hands, and I'm just asking for an opportunity. I understand that I need to earn your trust, and it was just this easy, smooth letter, okay? And I had Jim Nunn is his name. He called me. He was a friend of mine growing up. It was my friend's dad, Jim, and he called me and said, Neil, I'd love to give you a chance. I buy and sell rental properties. I've got mini storage units, and this is kind of what I'm looking for. And if you can find me anything, and I'm not kidding you, 2 weeks later, I was under contract with him on a property, and he ended up doing over 20 transactions with me, And he would say that he would never do a transaction without me. He even had one of his tenants buy his house and called me to represent. So he didn't even need to get me involved, but he just told his tenant to call me, and he paid me my full commission to put the whole deal together. So like, just like, these are the
Yeah.
people, like, you ask for an opportunity and they're there. So that's why I love the announcement letter for a new agent. For an agent, and maybe you've been practicing for a year, and maybe you've sent one or two things to your sphere. Maybe you sent out a letter when you first started, and maybe you've sent out recipe cards or did some sort of mailing, but you really haven't stayed up with it. The letter I'd recommend is what we call as the reconnect letter. And it just says, I've been busy thanks to your referrals, and I just have not done a good job because I've been so busy. I haven't done a good job of staying in touch. And so from this day forward, because we're in an ever-changing market, I want to do a better job with that. So from this day forward, I'm announcing that every month I'm going to be mailing a newsletter. You could also offer a real estate review or an equity report, or if you have a monthly equity report like a home bot, you could also offer that in the news in that announcement letter. So again, that announcement letter is kind of the kickoff. It's kind of to get going from nothing to now mailing every single month. And can you skip the announcement letter? Yes, of course you can. You could just start mailing newsletters, but I think you're missing an opportunity. That announcement letter can say a lot. And the announcement letters I would handwrite in an envelope. Make it look handwritten. The label, and then when it comes to mailing newsletters, I would use a 6x9 envelope that then looks like a wedding invite, and you can just put your newsletter by 6x9 by starting it out this size and then folding it in half, or you can go with a 4-page version. Both all service newsletters come with both 2 and 4-page. So you could go with a 4-page, and then that's printed in half, folded in half, and then put in a 6x9 envelope. It looks like a wedding invite. Open rates go up.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And if you need the announcement letters, just send me an email. Neil
Gotcha.
Mathweg at Gmail, or Neil at Agent Rise Coaching. Yeah, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send that. Anybody on the call, I'm happy to share that with.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Great.
I got one real quick. If I can't really see the
Sure
chat,
thing.
so
Yes. Yes.
real quick. So you got your YouTube going, Facebook, everything's popping, all that good stuff. What is the main conversion where you can actually start sending? Like, is there like a little verbiage or like a little system y'all use to like harvest email? I guess for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
harvest emails and contact numbers for me to send
Yeah.
the newsletter.
Yeah. So on YouTube, what we're offering on that's working the best on YouTube is straight to a Calendly link. So we are positioning ourselves as the answer to the living in and moving to, the pros and cons of living in, the cost of living in. We are becoming their guide. So we've got 10 videos that we start out with to program the algorithm to know that we're living in that area, that moving to in that area. And then we're going into the neighborhoods. So we're doing neighborhood videos that like just like a 401 like of the neighborhood. And then we're doing neighborhood tour, driving tour, and map tours. And so mixing this up, and then some of the keywords we're really excited about are like where the ultra rich live. That keyword is just hitting so well right now. So things like that. But you've got to have the foundation. You've got to be the living in and moving to. We also know that we've got to do weekly videos. And I don't coach an agent that's successful at YouTube that doesn't have an editor. So weekly videos with an editor, following the framework. There's 52 videos easily right at your fingertips. They're just like right there, and you just get in the rhythm of recording them. And then you become the guide, and people fall in love with you on YouTube. They see your videos, they see that you're the person that can help them. When they call you, they already feel like they know you. They feel like they've known you for years and you're already friends, and you have no clue who this person is. So to us, it's a little weird, but to them, it's totally normal because they've been watching your videos. And what we found is that if we just offer a Calendly link, they will schedule a call. Beyond that, we also offer guides. So first is if we can get them to book a Calendly call, boom, right there. But a lot of them will take our information and will suggest that, if, maybe this neighborhood isn't the right neighborhood for you. And I remember when I moved here 4 years ago, I couldn't find the right neighborhood. So maybe this isn't the right neighborhood for you, but I've put together a guide with 10 of the best neighborhoods right here in my town. And the guide is right below. And then you, in the links on YouTube, you can share up to 3 links. So one of them is going to be your Calendly link, one of them is going to be your guide, or 2 of them are going to be your guide. And then in the description, it will be unclickable, but it will be the link to the guide as well. But the links that are shared, you can share those in the channel description. But the video itself will just have a link. Somebody would have to copy it and then go paste it. But that link would then take them to the guide that you're talking about. They download the guide, and we're using ConvertKit or any of ConvertKit's free. So that's why we talk about ConvertKit so much. But any CRM that you're already using that can deliver a PDF, ConvertKit is free with less than 1,000 people. So you could start with ConvertKit, and then ConvertKit would send it. Now that's how we're doing it over on YouTube. Over on Instagram, we're using ManyChat. ManyChat is a plugin for Instagram that when anybody texts a certain word, it would reply with whatever you set it up to reply to. So automatically, if somebody types the word guide in any comment of your Instagram post on any post, it will automatically in Messenger send them whatever you've set up for the keyword of guide. And to connect all of that, we use Zapier. So the plugin for ManyChat, the plugin for Instagram is called ManyChat. You plug that in. You then connect Zapier so that when somebody messages that, it sends it to them in Messenger. But now we need to get their email address over into ConvertKit. And to do that, if we ask them a question with their email address, then ManyChat will send it through ConvertKit over to your CRM. Most that I'm coaching are not to that last step. They're just using ManyChat and keeping all of the messages in Instagram, and they do not have a 30-day email follow-up campaign. But my goal in all of it is to get everybody into a 30-day email follow-up campaign, because that's where the results come. Did I answer the question? Probably more than what you're asking for, but
Yeah, that was good. That was good because I'm about to send my newsletter to nobody for a second.
yeah, it's all right. All right. Yeah, and if you have a small sphere, just start with what you have. Jeremy Allen in Virginia Beach started with 1. He has a database of over 300 and does 50 to 60 transactions a year on repeat from his sphere. So he started with 1. He moved to Virginia Beach and knew 1 person, that was his sister. And so if that's you, just go get 1, get to 7, get to 24, just keep building it. And every person that you meet, add them to that sphere of influence, and come talk to me in a year, and I bet you'll have 100 people in that database.
Yeah, and I always just recommend people start off with either their Christmas list, the Christmas card list as their database, or maybe their wedding invitation list. Those are 2 easy ones to start with. Because a lot of people will say, I don't have a big database to mail to, but you do, you just don't realize it for the most part.
Right. And look at your phone, look at how many contacts you have in your phone, look at your Facebook friends and look at look at all your friends, look at all your friends, just, you got more than than you probably know. Yeah. Good. Any other questions? It's been good. I appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah, Neil, we appreciate you joining us today. This was great. Hopefully that helps somebody get on track, unstuck, comfortable with this business. And we appreciate you, my friend. Hope to see you soon.
Likewise. Excellent. Thank you, guys. And if there's anything I can help with, I'm here for you. And like I end every call, hope you guys have a great day. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.